Today I had the pleasure of working with a full-time mom who is a self-proclaimed old-school cook who doesn't measure or use recipes, a woman after my own heart, who's actually going to make a hot and spicy firecracker crab soup. Am I right?
Yes.
So hot and spicy, you put the right chef in place?
Sure did.
So I was involved in the prep work, and I saw there's 9 million different kinds of hot peppers. There's jalapenos, there's bananas, there's roasted, there's red, yellow, there's all different kinds. Sarah and I prepped this up. We got our mise en place in place, and our pot is nice and hot. We're going to start making our soup. What's our first step?
Well, we're going to need the oil first.
Okay. Now, any kind of olive oil or just a...
We just use a regular standard olive oil at the restaurant.
Okay.
And then we have garlic.
And what soup doesn't have garlic? I mean, you got to have garlic in everything, am I right?
And then we have the Hungarian peppers.
Now, the Hungarian peppers are hot.
Right.
Aren't they?
I deseeded them, but
Okay.
I left some of the seeds in so that we get the firecracker in the soup.
So I understand when you have the Hungarian pepper and you cut it in half, there's a vein down the center that actually has oil, and that's what makes the pepper hot. Am I right?
Right.
Okay. So we got, how many Hungarian peppers did we put in there?
About 1.5 cups.
Wow, that's a lot of peppers. And you got some jalapenos. Now, those are no joke.
Right. And I also left seeds in some of the peppers when I chopped them as well.
What do we have next?
Now we have the onions.
Okay. So now, Sarah, you're using roasted peppers. Can you give me a tip on how to roast the peppers? These are red, yellow, and orange sweet peppers?
Right.
If I'm going to do these at home?
Well, at the restaurant, of course, we have a grill, so we put them on the grill and we fire roast them. And then if you are at home and you don't have the option of a grill, you have a gas stove, you can put them over the flame. And if you don't have gas, you use electric, then you can put them under the broiler.
Oh, perfect. So it really is kind of easy. And then once you get this off, you peel all the char?
Well, the trick is to put it in a paper bag for a few minutes and the skins release. And then you can take the skins off.
Perfect. Nice and easy. And this is what it looks like when it's all done. Now, how many peppers did you use in that soup?
This is about 2 cups of the roasted red peppers.
Which would equal about how many fresh peppers?
I want to say it was about 4 to 5 big ones.
Okay. What's next?
Next, we're going to add the stock. I have about 10 cups of fresh seafood stock. We make all our stocks from fresh at the restaurant.
Okay. Now, in order to make the seafood stock, you just boil the shells, any seafood, and you bring it to a boil.
Right.
And then once the shells are boiled, you run it through a cheesecloth, and that's how you get the stock, and it's got nothing but flavor.
And now we're going to add a little bit of pepper.
Okay.
I use coarse ground at the restaurant.
It's easier to gauge, too, when you use coarse.
And then I also use a little bit of celery salt. I use celery salt in all of my soups. And then I have 3 bay leaves here.
And what are some of the other soups that you make at the Village Inn?
We tend to make a lot of spicy soups. We always have one spicy soup. We have a clear soup. And usually a cream soup. So we always have about 3 different soups running at all times. Our most popular soup is the lemon Tabasco clam chowder, which I couldn't make here today because there's too many secrets involved.
That's right.
We make that as soon as it runs out.
Perfect. So what's next?
Now we're going to bring the soup to a boil so that we can thicken it.
So, Sarah, our soup boiled in about 15 minutes. Next step, you're going to add...
We're going to add the roux, which is usually equal parts of flour and butter. And you want it to be the consistency of sand.
Okay.
We're just going to add a little bit at a time here.
And how much are we going to add?
I usually, for a small batch, do a little less than a pound of butter.
Okay.
But you want
I
to...
told you, she doesn't measure and she doesn't use recipes, so this is great.
You want to whisk it.
Okay.
It's getting pretty thick right now. And that's what the roux does. It makes your soup nice and hearty. It's a thickening agent. Just flung some over there. That should probably do it right there.
Okay. And then what do we add next?
Next, we're going to add the heavy cream.
Now, you want to add almost the whole quart?
Probably about half.
About half a quart. And you don't want to use heavy, or you don't want to use half and half. You want to use the heavy cream.
Right, because that's what's going to give it the velvety
Okay.
feel when you are eating that.
I know you don't use a recipe and you don't measure. That's just how I cook. So tell me when.
Well, it's nice and thick.
It's
so.
all about eyeball, isn't it?
It sure is.
All right.
Okay, that's good right there.
That looks great.
Now we're just going to let this cook for another minute or so, and then we want to turn it off because we don't want the soup to break. The fats in the cream will break down and become runny. Now, Marco, now that our pot of soup is finished, we're going to add the crab meat.
Okay. And we're using a back fin crab, which is really sweet. It's going to add great flavor and texture to the soup. And we're going to add a lot to it, too. There's no joke. Village Inn doesn't fool around when they add their crab to the soup. That looks amazing. It smells even better. Wow, look at the crab. It's so creamy. I'm sure it's going to be spicy.
It's definitely one of the Village Inn favorites.
Well, I can't wait to try it. Here we go. Man. The sweetness of the crab, the creaminess of the soup. But let me tell you something. They brought the right chef to the table because that is some spicy chowder. You are a firecracker. A short hop over the Grand Island Bridge, 1488 Ferry Road. Visit my friends at the Village Inn. I'm Chef Marco.
Come dine with me, Western New York.